gets 50% marks and scores 12.5% more than the passing marks. If its score second, is reduced by 33.33%, he will fail by 40 marks. In a test, a person gets 50% marks and score 12.5% more than the passing marks. अगर passing marks 9/8 is equal to 50%. So 100% मतलब out of how much? 8 into PM upon 50. If his score which is if his score is reduced by 2/3, he will fail by 40 marks. क्या रखा क्या है? In a test, a person gets 50% marks. Let his maximum marks be 100x. अगर उसको 50% मिला है तो it is 50x marks he has got. And scores 12.5% more than the passing marks. If his score reduces by this much, he will fail by 40 marks. तो 40 इधर आ गया 98 by PM minus 100x upon 3. तो if his score is reduced to 33.33%, he will fail by 40. Person gets 50% marks and scores 12.5% more than the passing marks. थ्री हंड्रेड चलो 300x जो है मैक्सिमम मार्क्स लिखते हैं हम लोग. अगर उसको कुछ 50% मिला है, 300 का 1/2 मतलब 150 मार्क्स मिला है। Which is 12.5% more than the passing marks. If his marks is reduced by 3.33%, he will fail by 40 marks. प्रिंट काढून हा तरी पण मला चालेल असं दोन फोटो मला लेटेस्ट पाहिजे मला चालेल तुमचे सगळ्यांना हा त्यांची आणि तुमचा जन्म कधीचा इयर काय आहे माझं तुमचं आहे ना एक मेल आहे लिव्हिंग आणि बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट ते नसेल तर मग मला सर्टिफिकेट प्रमाण हा त्यातले एक द्या बाकीचे सगळ्यांचे फोटो ऍड्रेस चेंज केलाय का तुमचा लाटा ये अगर पासिंग मार्क्स है एक्स में कन्वर्ट कर दिया है मैंने म्हणजे ऍड्रेस तोच आहे तिकडे सुटतो हा अच्छा बिल्डिंग मध्ये अजून मिळालं एक्स मग ऍड्रेस तुमच्या सेम तसेच आहेत ना 40/31 फक्त मग तुमचं दोघांचं लिव्हिंग आणि ते बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट लागेल किंवा दहावीचं बस बाकीचं आहे अरे मग ते काय झालं 2002 मध्ये आपलं 125 2002 पासून अजूनपर्यंत तर त्याला 20 ते 22-24 वर्ष ओके तर त्यामुळे नवीन कोणी नाव नव्हते 25 किंवा कोणी 25 is the value of what is the maximum 300 फोटो सिमिलर आहे फोटो सिमिलर आहे 36 37 28 असं सगळं काम चालू आहे मे पासून सबसे भी जा रहा था मैं कहाँ भर्ती कर पाचवे नियर चांगल्या पद्धतीने वेदांचा ऑफिस आहे तिकडे पण मी बसले होते आता मी 8 दिवस ते मी त्यांच्या टेस्ट मध्ये बाहेर पर्सन गेट्स 50% मार्क्स अगर एक्स मार्क्स मिले अगर मैंने मैक्सिमम मार्क्स 300 लिया हुआ है इंटू 100 विच इज इक्वल टू 50%. तो इसको कितने मार्क्स मिले मिले हैं 150 मार्क्स मिले हैं आई वाज राइट है ना 150 पार्ट्स के मार्क्स है विच इज 150 part is 9/8 of the passing marks. तो passing marks कितने होंगे 50/9 into 8 or the passing marks. This is the passing marks. If the score is reduced by this much, है ना? Then he will fail by 40. Fail कब होते हैं जब passing marks से कम मिलते हैं राइट 150x/9 into 8 minus 40 हो जाएगा यहाँ पे तो यहाँ पे हो जाएगा 50 तो ये हो जाएगा 100x यहाँ पे 3/50 यहाँ पे हो जाएगा 400/3 ग्रेट 40 यहाँ पे आ जाएगा 100/3 यहाँ पे 120/100 इज इक्वल टू x 6/5 इंटू 300 360 अपना गलती कर दी यार weight of A, B, C is 20%. 25% लेस देन दैट ऑफ डी। डी को मैं रखूंगी 200। 200 इंटू, लेस है ना, 200 इंटू 4/5, 160। 200 into 3/4, 50, 150. 3/5, 120. If A is 4 kg heavier, मतलब 10 parts is equal, चलो इसमें ना रेशियो निकालते हैं, ये बता देंगे। 1 part is equal to 4 kg. What is the difference between the weight of 32 kg? That's the question. Amit saves 40% of his monthly salary. Amit saves 40% of his monthly salary. From the rest of the salary, he spends rupees 16,500. Save 40% from the rest of the salary. मतलब 100x, उसमें से 40% सेव करते हैं तो 3/5 एक्सपेंडिचर होगा। फ्रॉम द रेस्ट ऑफ द सैलरी ही स्पेंड 1600 हाउस रेंट एंड, मतलब 20x, 60x माइनस 16500, एंड जो बचता है उसमें से 3/20 on rent, मतलब 17/20. Now he has 34500 left with him. क्वेश्चन है हमसे। बस इतना तो आके एक दफा जो दिल में कहा जान दे। अगर 40% 345 किया था तो 100% सैलरी आ जाएगी। बारिश का what amount is spent on buying Amit saves 40% of his monthly salary. From rest, from the rest of the salary, he spends 60 1,500 on rent and 15% on buying the fridge. 100x उसमें से 2/5 he says, remaining with him is 3/5. 15% of buying the fridge, so 3/20, 17/20 minus 6500. अगर उधर चला गया तो 4500, 10, 11, 15, 17, 3 into 5 into 20. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. X is equal to 100. What is the amount he has spent on a fridge? X is equal to 100. X is equal to 1000. So expenditure जो है वो है 60. So he had like 60,000, out of which he spent 16500 on this house rent, and from this remaining he spent 3/20. 2 2s are 4, 2 1 the 3, 2, 7, 5 into 3, 3 5 are 15, 5, 6, 6, 5, 2, 0. None of this. In an exam, like maximum qualifying marks for in 9th and 10th is 30%, 45% respectively. It is known that total marks of each class are same, and a boy of class 10 scored 112, thereby failing by passing. In an exam, minimum passing marks for 9th and 10th are 30% and 40%. It is known that the total marks of each class are same. Total marks of each class are same. And a boy of 10th class scored passing marks 1225 plus 125, then 1350. Find the passing marks. बादलों में गोते लगा, सागर में उड़ता चला, मैं रोक न पाऊं, चला 900. Next. And Deepak spent 30% of his monthly salary on foods, 40% of his monthly salary on food, 15% of his monthly salary on rent, and 5% on children's education. 10, 1, 8, 9, 90% is gone. So he is left with 10%, and he saves 10%, which is 3,000. अगर 10% 3,000 है तो इनकम जो है वो 30,000 है. There was an election between two candidates, Amar and Suraj. 25% of the total cast votes were declared invalid. Total cast votes were declared invalid. So, अगर 100x are votes casted, out of which 25% was invalid, so remaining is 75x. The winner got 50% of the total votes casted, मतलब 50x, and won by and won by this much. So x is equal to 48. 1200. 30. A man spends 25% of his income on food, 20% on rent, 15% on travel, and 10% on other expenses. Then 4, 5, 6, 70%, and the rest, that is 30%, he saves. तो 100% कितना हो जाएगा? Deepak spends 40% and 10% and 30% of its monthly salary. तो यहाँ पे ही 80% खर्च हो गए. Okay, now later she spent 10% of the remaining. 80% खर्च हो गया तो 20% बच गए, मतलब 28 and 10% of the remaining on the shopping and gives the remaining money to her mother. If she gives 1260 to her mother, so x का value is equal to 9 ones are 9 140 into 2 is equal to 70. Find the money she spent on rent. तो ये है उसकी सैलरी और ये मनी स्पेंट ऑन रेंट. If the savings of Ajit is if the savings of Ajit is 25% of his expenditure is what percent of his income? XYZ publication started with 2000 novels. The printing cost, packaging cost, and delivery cost of each novel. Printing cost 150, packaging cost 20, and the delivery cost is 50. If 40% of the novels, मतलब 2000 में से 2/5%, मतलब 800 जो novels है were sold at 3/4 of the cost price. तो cost price 170 plus 50 220. Okay. ये कितने में बेचे गए हैं? 165 rupees, 800 total revenue ये हो गया. Then how much percent above the cost price should he sell the remaining? अरे यहाँ पे तो एलिगेशन लगना चाहिए थी. लग सकता है. बाकी रिमेनिंग जो है, then how much percent above the cost price should the remaining novels be sold to get 20% profit on total expense? We sold to get 20% profit on total expenditure. How much percentage above your cost price should the remaining novels be sold to get 20% profit on total expenditure? Total expenditure जो है वो है 2000 multiplied by 220, टोटल एक्सपेंडिचर जो है उस पे प्रॉफिट 6/5 चाहिए। 12, 1 2 3 8 4 48 5 2, ये अब ये क्या है? अगर मैं होते लगा सारा को मैं लगा जाऊं, तुमको मैं रोक लगा जरा 36 33 330 में सेल करना चाहिए। तो हाउ मच परसेंट अबव द कॉस्ट प्राइस? 110 परसेंटेज मोर है तो परसेंटेज लेस नीचे आ जाएगा। शुड बी 50% above its cost price. This is the longest. I do not know the shortcut of this, but anyways. Um, 30% of a number is 3/10 of a number is less than 3/5/8. 6, 3x by 10, 18. X is equal to 60. Huh? Huh? 50%. Oh, 50%. Ah, shit. Shit. If Ranjana spends 10% and 50% of his income on rent and food respectively, and 40% and 20% of the remaining income on transportation, तो ये जो है वो 25%, तो बचा 75%, तो 75x इसका उसका 60% जो है वो thereby saved 60%, बचा कितना 40%, which is equal to 1500, 15, 30, x is equal to 50. Then what is the amount spent by Ranjana on transportation? What is the amount spent by Ranjana on transportation? ये log because see ये ये तो उसकी टोटल सैलरी होगी 5,000, है ना? लेकिन ये जो है यहाँ पे हमको फोकस करना है। 50x है, 0 5 5 25 237, तो ये 3750 में से पहले उसने 2/5 उसने ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, तो 2/5 ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, 7 5 35 50 0 to 10 1500। Sanjeev, Prithvi, and Rajiv are great friends, but 30% less marks than Prithvi and 16% more marks than Rajiv. अगर पृथ्वी को 100 मिला है तो संजीव को कितना मिला है? 64 and 16% more marks than Rajiv है। If Prithvi got 145 marks, then how many marks did Rajiv get? 5 5 is 25, 5 4 9. Sanjeev, Prithvi, three friends. संजीव got 36% लेस मार्क्स देन पृथ्वी. तो अगर पृथ्वी को अगर 100x मिला है तो संजीव को मिला होगा 64 and more less than Prithvi and 16% more than Rajiv. Okay, यहाँ पे कर 16% more 116 by 100 to 8 um 2 9 25 बाप रे. Let's see the next one. 16% more marks than 16% more marks. Multiply by 29 upon 29 into 25. 25 तेरा तेरा नाम if पृथ्वी स्कोर 145 अब भी कटेगा. A and B can contest an election. 25% of the votes are declared invalid. The ratio of the votes of A and B, valid votes of A and B, is 3 by 4. So अगर total votes मैंने 7 next लिया उसमें से 1 by 4 remaining 3 by 4 4 4 ones are 4 4 7 5 मतलब यहाँ पे 175 by 3 into 7 twos are 14 7 fives are तो वन पार्ट जो है हो जाएगा 75 75 50 225 और ये 75 300 if the loser get 140 votes less 300 minus 225 997 48 one part is equal to 40 upon 75. Then what is the number of votes casted? तुझसे तुझको मैं चाहूं बादलों में होने लगा सागर में उड़ता जा तुझको मैं रोक रहा हो जरा Then examination. Komal scored 25% marks and failed by 120 marks. So passing marks जो है 25% plus 120 है. While Anjali scored 54% marks and therefore got 1/2 more than the passing marks. Two, 25, 9, 29, 100% is equal to 129 into 100, which is 800. What are the maximum marks for the examination? 800. In a class, the number of boys is 33.33% less than that of girls. If the total number of students in a class is this much, so one part. See, 3 5 are 15, 70 into 3, 9, 10, 11. The bacteria growth in an experiment increases by 27% in the first year of observation and by 25% in the subsequent in the second year of observation. The ratio of the number of bacteria at the end of the first and second year is how much? X 120 7 by 100 into 120 by 100. Said I will. I will. Yes. I will. Increases by 27% and 20% by subsequent year. 127, 100 into 6 by 5. इसका क्या ही रेशियो चलता है ऐसा तो कोई नहीं तो then the ratio of the number of bacteria in the first year to that of second year. Oh shit. Oh, ऐसे करना है, ऐसा करना है. So 6 by 5. Yeah. Submit. Yes.